Check one, check two. Check one, check two. What's going on, family? What's going on? What's going on? Happy Monday. Welcome to day two of the YouTube Live Challenge with your boy Pop. Yeah, voice is a little groggly, but I do apologize again for the delay. Just trying to get familiar with my tech. Got down here this morning. My camera wasn't working, so I had to troubleshoot that. The beautiful thing about that is the reality of it is that and by the way, I actually tested out everything yesterday and everything went well. So I don't know what I did wrong today, but nonetheless, we are here. Made a commitment to show up, so showing up we shall. So thank you so much for tapping in today. It's going to be a phenomenal little kickoff to our week. So I've been really just doing some research. I've been really kind of working through my own formula, my own framework as far as content creation is concerned. And like I told y'all on day one, this is not just going to be I'm not just going to sit here and just talk you to death, right? I actually also want to teach. I want to be able to kind of, give you some information that you'll be able to apply right away that's going to help you push your social media forward, push life forward, push business forward, push relationships forward, and just getting you and just push you forward. So this is really going to be a holistic type of situation. So today I came equipped. I'm going to go ahead and get to my slides. So today we're going to be talking about clarity. Okay, we're going to be talking about clarity, and the reason why we're doing this is because a lot of people that I've worked with, as far as small businesses are concerned, a lot of people that I've been able to even kind of help along the way, the very first thing that I find with everyone that I work with that is stuck as far as creating their content is they're not clear. They're not clear on a few things. And in today, we're going to delve into or dive into what those things are. So then this way, if you identify with these issues, if you identify with these points of pain when it comes to your clarity, then you definitely want to tap in. You definitely want to get your notepad out and ready, so that this way you can get the information, or you can get the confidence, I'm going to say, that you need in order to facilitate and put this into practice. So then this way you'll be able to master your content creation in 2026. All right. So here we go. So why clarity? Why clarity is your superpower, and confusion is killing your growth. That's right. Confusion, your problem is not that you're not good at creating content. Your problem is not that content is not for you, right? It, the reason why you're not growing is not because you need to hire somebody and pay them thousands of dollars to create your content for you. That's not the case. The reality of it is that confusion is what is keeping you from growing. All right. So that is no longer going to be you, because I'm going to make sure after this live, I'm going to make sure that you have the clarity that you need to no longer succumb to confusion and allow confusion to be the reason why you're not growing. All right. So let's go. Get your pen, get your pad. Let's get it. All right. So the problem. All right. So can you relate to any of this? Come on, raise your hand. Raise your hand. Make sure I'm in the camera. Can you relate to anything that's on the slide? So you're working hard, but you get nowhere. Right? You're posting every day. No one is buying from you. No one is DMing you. Nobody is liking you, liking the video. Nobody's commenting on the video. Nobody's sharing the video. None of that. But you're working hard, right? You're putting in the time. You're putting in the effort, right? You're showing up. Maybe you've invested in the necessary tech. You've done all of the things that you were told that you're supposed to do, and still you're not seeing any fruit or any return on your investment, any fruits of your labor. Okay, can you identify with that? Can you identify with that? Okay, cool. But this is what we're going to get. Make sure that this is no longer you by the end of this slide. By the end of this live, all right? Meanwhile, Okay, you are not creating this content. You're working hard. You're not seeing any results, right? Okay, but meanwhile, you're putting in all this work, but you're up scrolling through Instagram, right, at midnight, Facebook, YouTube, wherever your TikTok, whatever your social media platform of choice is, and you're scrolling through trying to find new ideas, trying to come across, hoping and praying to come across a guru that's going to give you the winning formula, that's going to give you what it is that you need in order to unlock everything that you think or that you're waiting or expecting, right? Only for that not to happen. Okay, we talked about it on day one. You have all of these voices on these platforms, all of these gurus. You scroll on your feed, right? You have Guru 1 who's telling you to do A. Then Guru 2 is telling you to do B. And then Guru 3 is telling you to do C. Guru 4 is telling you to do A, B, and C. And then Guru 5 is telling you to do none of A, B, C, or D, but he wants you to do E, or she wants you to do E. And you end up throwing your phone across the room because you are walking away with less clarity than you did when you first got on the app. Okay, so you put in all this work, you scrolling through, and you're listening to all of these gurus, and you're putting into practice what it is that they tell you to put into practice, but still you're getting 12 likes. Okay, 10 of them are probably your mom, grandma, you know what I'm saying, aunt, uncle, cousin, sister, siblings, you know what I'm saying. And so not only that, you have to also deal with the pressure of you're putting in all this work and you're investing all this time, and the content isn't going anywhere. You feel like you're running in circles. And also your family, right? Maybe you're losing time with your kids, or maybe you're losing time with your spouse, and your spouse is looking at you crazy because they're like, well, you're putting in all this time and effort, but I can go on Instagram and see that you're only getting 2 likes. I can go on this platform and see that you're only getting 7 views. So they don't understand, if you're putting in all this work, why are you not seeing a return on the investment? And they're not even seeing a return on the investment. So now you also have that pressure of trying to justify why it's not moving or it's not going anywhere. So not only do you have to justify it in your own mind, which is extremely difficult to do anyway, but now you have to try to justify it to them. And because they don't understand, because they haven't this is not their vision necessarily, or this is not their goal, or their dream, is very difficult for you to be able to explain it, because a lot of the times your vision is in your head, right? And because your vision is in your head, it's difficult to be able to communicate it, because oftentimes it's not always all put together in your mind. So it's hard for you to even explain it to yourself sometimes. So how are you going to explain it to somebody else? So all they're seeing is the result. They're not seeing what's going on internally. All they're seeing is what's happening externally, and they can't reconcile, nor can you, internally, why you're putting in all this work and nothing is coming of it. All right, but don't worry about that, because I'm telling you, all of this is no longer going to be a story after this live. All right, so here's the truth. As we talked about before, it is not that you're not good enough. That's not the case. So I want you to get that out of your mind right now. It's not that you don't have what it takes. It's not that you don't have the sauce. It's not that you don't have, that you don't have the assets or the skill set. You do. Okay. The problem is, the truth is, you are confused. You're just confused. Okay. And I hope, hear my heart on that. I hope that that doesn't offend you. I hope that that actually gives you, in a weird way, a woosah moment. It gives you some relief, knowing that it's not that you're not skilled, right? It's not that you're not good enough, but it's just that you're confused. So I hope that that kind of gives you some sort of relief, right? That and help you to reset your mind. So then this way you can go back into it understanding that, no, I'm good enough. You go back into it with a vote of confidence that allows you to show up consistently and confidently with your audience. All right. And so you're confused, and confusion is expensive. It's expensive. I struggled for many years trying to just do, trying to figure out, trying to, trying to, as I talked about before, listening to all of these gurus and doing all of these different things, only to realize that all of these gurus, they found something that worked for them, but more than likely, they at some point in time they were right where I was, where they too were trying to figure it out, right? But what here's what confusion costs you. Confusion costs you time. Confusion costs you money, right? Confusion costs you, and sometimes your mental health and even your physical health, because there is a such thing as creative burnout. There is a such thing as burnout. Period. There is a such thing as exhaustion, and those things unfortunately are not quarantined to a particular part of your life, or a particular department, if you will, of your life, right? When you get burnt out doing this business, and you get burnt out creating content to promote the business and to market your business, you get burned out there. That burnout is going to carry over into your marriage or to your relationships. It's going to roll over. It's going to roll over and seep itself into your relationship with your children. It's going to seep over into the relationship with either your employees or your partners in your business, whatever that happens to be. It's not going to stay isolated. It's not. Is not going to remain isolated. So just understand that. And so we want to try alleviating confusion is how we're able to ensure that at least you're able to create your content in a manageable way and in a clear way and concise way, which in turn will influence or um, significantly slow down, or even, because I don't know if it could totally eliminate it, but it could significantly slow down that uh, journey, if you will, to burnout, right? Because when you're clear, then you you're able to put a structure and a plan and a framework in place that helps you to be able to kind of be locked in on the prize. Make sense? Okay. So confusion costs you quite a bit. And as I said, I can relate to this because I've been there multiple times. It really wasn't until I invested in a coach, I invested in a mentor, that I was able to really kind of get the clarity that I needed. And shout out to Marcus Y. Rozier. He was one of my very first business coach, man, and he really shifted my entire mindset. So I'm forever grateful to that brother, and he just opened up a lot of opportunities for me. I'm forever grateful for that dude. Um, and Marcus, if you listen, I'm probably not, but you know what I'm saying. I can't wait to be able to, at least attempt to do for you what you've done for me. Anyway, moving along. So you're confused, all right? You're confused. So be encouraged because there is a fix for that. All right. So clarity is your superpower. Okay? When you're clear on who you help, what problem you solve, and how you're different, everything else falls into place. All right, listen to me. Listen to me very closely. I can't even begin to describe to you how important that little piece of information is. I like to put it like this: if you don't know who you're talking to, you won't know what to talk about. You know what I'm saying? Like, think about trying to have a conversation, a meaningful conversation, and a conversation that's transformative, impactful, influential with someone or somebody's, right? But you don't have any information on them. You don't have any knowledge on them. You don't even, matter of fact, you don't even know who these people are, right? Imagine trying, imagine trying to talk with your information, your knowledge, your expertise. You're just talking to people. Like you're in the middle of Times Square in New York City and you're just talking, right? You're just talking. And there's millions of people walking by. And so there may be a couple of people that may overhear what you're saying and stop and be like, oh, hey, you know what I mean? Like that resonates with me. But more than likely, nobody's going to listen. They're just going to walk by you. And that's basically what's happening with your content. You're literally talking, you're talking your language, you're talking about your knowledge and your expertise, right? You're talking from your experience, you're showing up, and you're just talking. But you're not calling out a specific group of people. You're not, you have not zoned in and locked in on who could benefit most from your knowledge, expertise, and information. You haven't dialed that in. So you're basically just in the middle of Times Square just talking, right? And hoping and praying that someone who is in alignment with your message or in alignment with what it is that you're talking about, or your knowledge, your expertise, and your information, you're just hoping and praying that they stop and identify with what you're saying and be like, hey, yeah, I know about that too. Like, I wanted to learn about that too. But what is the odds of that happening? And so this is why you're getting 2 views. This is why you're getting 2 likes. This is why the content isn't really being pushed out, or the content isn't really landing with the people that you want to land with. That's why you're not getting DMs. That's why you're not getting comments. That's why people aren't clicking on the link in your bio or dropping that keyword to be able to go to your whatever it is that you're offering. That's why people, if you have a physical, a brick and mortar business, this is why people aren't coming in the door, right? I mean, at least by using social, they may be coming in the door from other, from other, other ways, word of mouth, things along those lines. But as far as being able to push traffic through social, which is at this particular point in time in history, right, is a really great opportunity to be able to use a free app for your business in order to convert those eyeballs, which people, I think, I don't even know what the number is now, but Instagram at one point, I know maybe about a year or two ago, they were like at a little over 1 billion active users. I mean, around the world. You feel what I'm saying? So it is still a very powerful tool. And of course, Facebook, of course, TikTok, I mean, you name it, YouTube. These are all incredible tools. So this is the reason why you're not getting the traffic and your content isn't working, because you have not identified who could benefit most from the information, your knowledge, and expertise. You have not locked down the person or the people that you want to be talking to. Now, here's what's important. This is something that I refused to do for a very long time, and this is why I wasn't growing on social. I thought that my message and what I was talking about was so universal that I could speak to a bunch of different audiences, and everybody will be able to relate and be able to relate to my content. And here's what my homegirl Jamie, Coach Jamie, said to me. She's asking me, who do I talk to? What's my niche? What's my this, that, and the other thing? And I was like, oh yeah. And I started talking, and I'm like, oh yeah, well, this is what I talk about, and I really think that I didn't have any of that. You ever been in a situation where someone asks you a question and you know that you don't know the answer to it, but because you don't want to sound stupid, you just try to, in the moment, try to kind of use the most eloquent words that you can, but you don't know what you're talking about, right? And you just are hoping, you're making it up as you go along and kind of hoping that your eloquence is going to get you out of it's going to actually get you out of, or make them think that you actually know what you're talking about. Well, that happened to me, but it didn't work with her. She called me out. She was like, oh, you don't know who your niche is. You don't know who you're talking to. And she said to me, this is what she said to me, y'all. She said, if you're talking to everybody, you're talking to nobody. And that thing, whoo, when I tell you that thing hit me to my core, it hit me to my core. Because I was like, no, yes, I can. I can talk to everybody out here. But she was so right. You cannot. In here, and then fast forward, I get my business coach, and he says a variation of the same thing. And here's the way that he expressed it. He said, if you have a sandwich, right? If you have a sandwich, does it make more sense to offer that sandwich to somebody who just walked out of a restaurant and was well fed? Or is it best for you to offer the sandwich to somebody who may be hungry? Right? And so it's not that you're excluding the person who came out of the restaurant that's well fed, but they don't need they don't need your sandwich. They just don't need the sandwich, right? But by you trying to market or offer your sandwich to somebody who is well fed, you're spinning your wheels, and it becomes a domino effect because you're spinning your wheels. They're not paying attention to you. They don't want what you have, and you're internalizing that as it's the problem is you, or your product sucks, or your marketing sucks, or your content sucks. But it's not. You're just trying to offer that to somebody who doesn't need it, as opposed to identifying who does need it and focusing your time and attention on that individual or that people group who will most who stand in need of and who can most benefit from what it is that you're offering, from your content, from your message, from your product, from your service. Does that make sense? Okay. All right, cool. All right, so let's get back to our slides. All right, and we almost done. All right, so clarity creates confidence, right? Because think about it, that's a true statement. When you're confident in something, you can show up and talk about, and so you're confident in your business. You're confident in your knowledge, your expertise, your information. You're confident in it because you put in the time, you put in the effort. You probably invested in coaches and tech and in books and all types of stuff that allowed you to be able to acquire school, that allowed you to acquire that job that you may even still be on. You may be a 9-to-5 worker, right? Side hustler, whatever that happened to be. You have put time, blood, sweat, and tears into acquiring the information and the expertise and the knowledge that you have. So if someone asks you about something that you know about, are you confident or not? You're very confident. You even your countenance is different. Your body language is different. Right? Because you're confident. So clarity, when you're clear, when you've locked in on who you're talking to and who could benefit most from what it is that you're offering, when you're locked in, excuse me, boom, right? That creates a confidence now because you know that you're talking to your people. All right? Confidence creates action. So you have the clarity on who you're talking to. That gives you confidence because you know that the people that you're talking to actually want what you have, right? And because you know that they want what you have, content in this content or your product or your you know it's shout out to my guy Marcus again. Once you have clarity and you have confidence, then listen to this. Your product and your service no longer remain products and services. Your product and service now become solutions to problems and answers to prayer. Okay? When you have clarity and that brings confidence, that confidence is going to transform in your mind your product and your service from not merely a product or a service, but it's going to be a solution to a problem. You're going to view it as a solution to a problem and an answer to prayer. Write that down. And that confidence is going to lead to action. Why? Because if you have a solution to a problem and an answer to a prayer, right? and you're clear on who needs that solution, you're that's going to be motivation and inspiration for you to show up every day talking to the people that need your solution. And as you show up every day, content and promoting your business or promoting your knowledge, your expertise, and your information no longer becomes a burden. It becomes an opportunity. It, please, I hope that you caught that. You creating content, promoting your business, promoting what it is that you offer. Once you have clarity and confidence and you realize that you have a solution to a problem and an answer to a prayer, content creation and promoting your business becomes a opportunity and not a burden, because you know by you showing up every day, you are going to be a blessing to somebody else. You are going to be able to give someone information or give someone a tool or a key that's going to unlock their next level. And that I can't even explain to you how fulfilling it is to know that you're showing up every day, and because you have clarity and you're talking to the right people, you start to see the change, the shift happening. So if you're stagnant, if you're not creating if you're creating inconsistently, if you are, if you are sporadic, if you start and stop, start and stop, start and stop, it's because you're still looking at your content or creating content as a burden and not an obligation. And I promise you, it's because you're confused and you haven't gotten the clarity. Okay. Action creates results. Okay. The actions that you take, because your mindset shifts, content is now an opportunity and not an obligation, because I'm clear and I'm confident and I know that I have, and I'm going to continue to reiterate this, I know that I have not a product or a service, but an answer to a prayer and a solution to a problem. Now, as I'm showing up consistently, that is now, that confidence has now moved me to action, and now that action is producing results. I'm showing up for my people every single day. And because I'm talking to the people who actually need what I have, guess what? They are going to gladly engage with my content. They're going to gladly download my freebie, or they're going to gladly come into my doors. They're going to gladly exchange their hard-earned money for my solution, and from or in the answer to their prayer, because they now see me, because of my actions. They now see me and consider me as what they need at this particular juncture in their experience. So now they're happy to see me every time I pop up on their feed. Now they're locked in. They are excited. They're looking for ways to swipe their credit card. They're looking for ways to pay for what it is that I offer or that you offer. Does that make sense? I pray that this is freeing you, because you're spinning your wheels and you're saying content is not for me, and that's just not the truth. And that is influencing how you show up for your business. That is influencing how you show up for your family. That is influencing every single element of your existence, because you have deemed yourself not good enough, and you're looking around and you're comparing yourself, and this one is doing this and this one is doing that and the other one is doing that, and it seems like everybody else is winning. Shout out to um, um, Bill Withers. He's a singer, for those of you who don't know, but he has a song, called "Lovely Day," right? And and one of the lyrics goes, "When I wake up in the morning, um, what did, oh Lord, I'm about to butcher, but he said something along the lines of, and I'm paraphrasing, um, when it looks like everybody else has it all figured out, or something along those lines, right? So it's like he talked about basically waking up and having to face another day and being confused, right? When it seems like everybody else knows the way. That's what I think what he said. Everybody else knows the way, but I don't. You know what I'm saying? Everybody else got it, is locked in. Everybody else got it except for me, right? And so this is how we feel. I know what that feels like. I know what that feels like, but let me tell you what my guy, another extremely influential brother that I've been blessed to come across and build a relationship with, and he was also I still consider him one of my mentors. My man Mario Armstrong. He is a two-time Emmy Award winner. He's just a genius in his own right as far as the way that he understands marketing, the way that he understands business. It's just incredible, and he's just a creative altogether. So, but anyway, he said to me, he was like, "Pop, nobody got it figured out. Nobody got it figured out." He said, "You are beating yourself up because you think that you should know something right now that you never tried, you never tested, and you're already convincing yourself that it's not going to work." He said, "You know how many people didn't know what was going on? They just tried something and it just happened to work. And when they saw that it happened to work, they just built a structure and a system around it, right? Because it worked. And they just figured out how to milk that thing for everything that it's worth. But they didn't know that it was going. They didn't know that it was going to work. They didn't know that this was a thing to do." He was like, "Nobody has it figured out," and that freed me. Like I can't even like. That was such a freeing moment and an aha moment for me, and I'm sharing that with you. Nobody got it figured out. Pop don't got it figured out, right? This is why I'm doing this live. This is why I'm going live every day for February, because I thought I had it figured out. Clearly, I didn't. Right? I started something that I shouldn't have stopped. Right? And I realized that I made that mistake, and that was 2.5 years ago. So I could beat myself up and be like, "Oh man, I missed my window." Or no, let's give it another shot and let's see what happens. So I'm saying this to say that confusion is not mutually exclusive to you. Confusion is not something that only you're going through. There's a lot of us that are going through that. Okay? And this is why we're here getting clear. All right? So clarity creates confidence. You know, we're going to wrap this thing up. Clarity creates confidence. Confidence creates action. Action creates results. Okay? Confusion. See if you can relate to any of these things here. Confusion versus clarity. Confusion is posting randomly. This is what it looks like. It looks like you posting randomly. Copying others, right? Not putting any of your spin on it, chasing trends, right? Whatever this person is doing and it looks like they're winning, I'm just going to do exactly what they do, but not taking into consideration that person may have a different niche than you. That person might have a different avatar, or they may have a different person that they're talking to, another people group that they're talking to, right? Y'all might be similar, but there might be a nuance that's different than yours. And so content, so if you are doing what they're doing, then you're going to be missing your people because there's a nuance in there that you haven't identified, right? So copying others, second guessing everything that you put. Is this good enough? Oh, I mean, I don't know. This may not get. Oh man, this ain't right on that, right? And what ends up happening is that you end up not posting at all because you're in your head. Okay. Clarity, on the other hand, is strategic content, right? You're clear. You know who you're talking to, right? And because you know who you're talking to, you know what to talk about. Okay? You have knowledge, you have expertise, and you have information. And it's a matter of now facilitating that to the people who actually need it. Right? You have an authentic voice. You're speaking from your knowledge, your expertise, your information that you have invested blood, sweat, and tears and money to acquire. Okay? Confident decisions. All right? You're no longer second guessing. your content. You're no longer second guessing that what you have as far as a product or a service or answer, prayer, and solution, like you know that you have the solution. You know that what you have is needed. You know that there are people out there, and it doesn't have to be everybody. It don't have to be all 8 billion people on the planet. If 100 people, if 1,000 people, if 10,000 people need what you want, you're locked in and you're making confident decisions because you know that what you're putting out is going to resonate with those people. So here's our action step for today, and that's going to be it. I kept you longer than I wanted to. But here's our clarity check. All right, I want you to ask yourself these three questions. Okay, this week or today, and allow this to influence the week. And we'll be back. I'll be back tomorrow to check in with y'all. So, who am I trying to help? Okay, what problem do I solve for them, and why? Oh man, hold on. Sorry. Hold on. Move this out the way. There we go. Okay. Okay. So, let me start from the top. So, who am I trying to help? Okay. What problem do I solve for them, or even what if you have a product or a service? What problem do you solve for them, and what problem does your product and your service solve for them? Okay. What does it help them with? What pain does it alleviate or take? What pain does it alleviate? What burden does it take off their shoulders? Okay. And why am I the one to solve it? Okay. And that's the self-identifying question. Why are you qualified to solve their problem? Why are you qualified to solve their problem? Right. And so back to those are the three questions. The first question: who am I? Who am I trying to help? As a little bit of an add-on to that, I want you to ask yourself who could benefit most from what I offer. Who could benefit most from my knowledge, my information, and my expertise? Because there may be a lot of people who can benefit from your knowledge, your expertise, your information, your product, your service. There may be a lot of people. However, as going back to our example before, a person who just finished eating could still use your sandwich that you're offering, but they're not gonna. They're not. It's going to be a harder sell for them because they just ate. They are going to get hungry later, and maybe your sandwich would help them then, but that is not who could benefit most from your product or your service or your content. It's the person. You want to look for the person who needs it now, right? You want to look for so you would want to be talking to the person who needs your sandwich now, right? Because for them, it's a no-brainer. I need it, as opposed to someone who just finished eating. It's just an option for them. You got it? So this is what I want us. This is how I want us to start to kind of think about. Just really kind of think about our content, or this is the framework that we're going to use to start to really get clear. All right. So again, you can screenshot these three questions. All right. Leave in the comments what your information or answer these questions in the comments if you feel so moved. If not, hit me up on Instagram. My Instagram information is going to be here in the description, so you can go over to Instagram. If you're not following me, hit me with a follow, and hit me up in the DM. Answer send me the information for your these questions in the DM, and we can maybe have a little dialogue about it then. All right. So tomorrow you want to tap in, because now that we've established clarity, it's now tomorrow we're going to be building on this foundation that we've laid. All right. Now we're going to be talking about how to identify the people that. Now that we have clarity, now we're going to talk about how we can identify our people, right? So now once you get clear, now it's time to, all right, how do I actively nail down my people? Okay, and that's what we're going to be talking about tomorrow. So definitely want to tap in. Love you to life. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification, because now that I think I've worked through all of my tech, I actually think that tomorrow I'll be on time. I'll be on time, right? So appreciate y'all. And I'll see y'all on tomorrow. All right. See you then. Peace.